all of you. I am Ramveer from Mappers Academy, social science teacher. Today my topic is geography, chapter number 1, resource and development. So first of all, what are resources? Resources actually those things which are useful for us, which have the importance in our life, which have the economic value, and which do the growth and development of any country. So first of all, the meaning of resources: all the useful substances for human being are called resources. For example, coal, petroleum, water, air, everything, etc. There are a lot of the resources found in earth. So resources are very important in our life. Then what are the relations of resource and technology and human being? Actually, human being is the greatest and important resource in all of the resources, because without human being no resources can be used by human. So the resources have the triangle shape and have the combination between human being, technology, institution and nature. First of all, human being exported to the physical environment. Physical environment means nature. He searched and used all the natural things which are free gift for human being. Then if resources are found, then he used the technology. Actually, by the using of technology, human being use all the nature resources. If he have no technology, then establish the institutions. Actually, nature, then technology, and technology depend on institutions which develop the skills and many technology and many knowledge which are very important to use of any resources. If we can say that without technology, without institution, physical environment can't be exploited or can't be using by the human beings. So this is the major combination of the resources. Then the important is classification. What are the classification of resources? Actually, there are many bases when we discuss about the classification of resources. First of all, then, on the basis of origin, when the resources were formed, so there are two categories of the on the basis of origin. Number one, biotic resources. Biotic resources, what are biotic? Biotic means all the living things which have life. For example, flora and fauna. These are called biotic resources. Forests, animals, birds, human being also, and the vast and largest area in ocean creatures. Then abiotic resources. Abiotic resources are the non-living things which are very important, and for example metals and rocks and many more. So these are called abiotic resources, but these are very important. Actually, biotic and abiotic is a combination. It creates a ecological relations between two resources. It is done. Then number two, on the basis of exhaustibility. On the basis of exhaustibility, resources are also classified into two categories. Number one is renewable resources. Renewable resources. Renewable resources means these resources which are reproduced or regenerate by physical, chemical or mechanical process are called renewable resources. Actually, these resources decay sometime, but after some time they regenerate again. For example, forest, solar, wind energy, also the renewable resources. Actually, human being also are greatest important resources, but it regenerate again. So this is a renewable resources. Then non-renewable resources. What are non-renewable resources? Non-renewable resources is the opposite resources of renewable. These resources not reproduce, not regenerate again, and these resources also have a very important economical value in our life, but these resources take a million of years in formation. For example, minerals and fossil fuel. Actually, petroleum not formed in a minute or in a 100 years, but it take a million of years in formation. So these are resources which are used one time and not used again are called non-renewable resources. Next, on the basis of ownership. This is the third category, this is the third classification of resource on the basis of ownership. Actually, on the basis of ownership, resources are four types. Number one, individual resource. Number two, community owned resource. Number third, national resource. Number four, international resources. And so number one is individual resources. Individual resources are those resources which have owned by the any person, which are controlled by person, individual, or a group of individual. For example, if farmer have their own field, so this is the resources of individual. Any plot, any soap, any bike, car, etc. Or these things are called the individual resources. Then community based resources. Community owned resources are those resources which are owned by the community or by a village or by urban centers or the community. It's called individual community based resources. For example, grazing grounds, ponds, and burial grounds, and any field in the cities, and picnic park, etc. All these are called the community owned resources. Number four, national resources. What are national resources? Actually, all the resources, individual and community based resources, are the national resources, but these have categorized in third category, that national resources. National resources, there are which resources which owned by the government of India. For example, railways, postal services, and many canals, many rivers have the control by the national resources. LOC, line of control, the land between two countries, are the controlled by the national resources. And the oceanic area, regional area, and coastal areas are under the national resources. Number last, international resources. What are international resources? Actually, international level also divided between national level. So international resources are those resources which are controlled by the institution of the world. For example, World Bank, for example, UNO, etc. These control the vast area of the oceans. Actually, international resources only include the oceanic area, which are using by the all countries, and these resources are very important for trade and commerce. So these resources have categorized on the three classification. For example, number one, on the basis of origin, biotic and abiotic. Number two, on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable. Number third, on the basis of ownership, individual, community owned resource, national resource, and international resources. So resources have a important role in our life. Resources, without resources we can nothing. So resources is everything. So today we explain this thing. In my next video I will explain the next part of this topic. Thank you.